Excellent.
All right, let me give you an introduction. Joining us now, live from parts unknown, way probably in, I'm guessing, what, like East Texas? East of the DFW area quite a bit. It is our number 4 finisher in the Hall of Fame this last year.
That's right.
One of the most beloved players in free play arcade history. It is Austin Smith. Thank you for joining us in these trying times.
Oh, thanks for the invitation. Glad to be on.
First off, I guess tell us how you are and how you're doing. The world seems to have flipped upside down, so we want to know how you're doing, Austin.
No, I definitely appreciate the interest. So, everything for me is it's really business as usual. I think a lot of people know I work from home when I'm not traveling, and obviously, just like everyone else, I've had to cancel all of my face-to-face meetings that I would normally travel for. But my days are usual. It's very customary for me to be up at 6 or 7 in the morning talking to someone in maybe Europe, and maybe at 6 or 7 in the evening talking to someone in New Zealand, and in between I'm talking to other people within the states. It's kind of a typical normal day. So for me, it's almost like nothing has changed. So I know that's not the case for everyone, but except for going to the airport frequently, that's perhaps the only thing that has changed for me.
With spending that extra time at home, has it changed dynamics within the home? I mean, I know you have some pinball machines and some stuff there, and maybe an entire Olympic weightlifting gym. But like, has it changed the tenor of how you spend your time at home, since now you have to spend all of your time at home?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like traveling because I like the human interaction, right? I mean, we are by nature, no matter how shy or introverted we are, we're social beings. We can't really exist for long periods of time without that human contact. Now, that being said, I have, as you said, the pinballs and other stuff around the house. So we've got a pretty good arcade supply here, and have a good setup for Tracy to work at home as well. And so we're fortunate in that we didn't really build our lives to be isolated. But yeah, you're right. We've got arcades. We've got pinballs. I do have a full-size gym at the house, and I always tell everyone I built it, and then I went on the road for 6 years, it seems like. So being able to take advantage of it is always nice. So I guess in hindsight being 2020, if you look at our setup, it probably is ideal. But I know that not everyone is in that same boat. So I really feel for everyone who wants to get out and have some physical activity, maybe other than just walking or running. They want to go to a gym, but perhaps they can't. So I think we're very fortunate in that respect.
Sorry, wrong button. Where have you been spending the predominance of your, I guess, leisure time in this? Have you been playing more pinball? Have you been working out more? What's been the go-to?
Yeah, I got to be honest, and not to sound like a martyr, I'm really busy at work right now, and so I would say, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been probably 12 to 13 hours dedicated towards work, and then when I can get a game of pinball in. Now, we did receive a shipment from Titan Pinball this week, a few rubbers and stuff like that, and a new rubber pinball mat. And I was fortunate enough, if you saw me, I updated my player profile. I was fortunate enough to go in there and set a personal best on The Walking Dead. I know that's one of Ray Upshaw's favorite machines, and we bought one recently, secondhand, from someone in the community, and put a 1.5 billion score on it. Got to last in line on ball 2 based on tournament settings. So I finished last in line, or last man standing. I'm sorry, last man standing on ball 2. So I was pretty happy with that. I mean, not world class by any means, but I wouldn't say I've spent a lot more time playing pins or working out than usual. It's kind of been that work-life balance of what you can fit in within a 13-hour day of committed towards work.
A quick question from the chat. They want to know, is this the Austin who does the leg sweep technique to nudge the pinball table?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's patented. That's classic Austin right there.
I have a few different techniques. Sometimes I have different stances that I use when I play pinball. That is a heck of a score on The Walking Dead. to be honest, like I don't really think about the score too much when I play pinball these days. Now it's all about the wizard mode, and you having beat the wizard mode, it just makes me excited to know that excited to know that like there's someone to get there. Like what is it? What does it happen? What is it that happens at the end of the Walking Dead pinball?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, it's on the wizard mode for Walking Dead, the one that I'm referring to, which is Last Man Standing. I think you've got to kill a minimum of 60 of the Walking Dead to get there, and so you got to have that as a minimum. Then once you get there, you have to meet certain scoring requirements. So they'll have certain shots that are lit up, and then if you make all of those shots, I believe the final amount they give you is 100 million bonus. On top of that, the game shuts off, but you don't lose a ball, and you can still continue playing. So it gives you a cool little animation. Tracy was kind enough. I mean, it was really just, it was one of those lucky games. But she was kind enough to come in and record about 7.5 minutes of my game while it was happening. But it's really cool because we've got a color DMD set up on ours, and so the animation is really cool. It shows you going towards an island, and you're the only person on this island. But and not to sound sexist, it's one guy, and it's a bunch of women on the island rather than the animation. But then the zombies come into play, and so it says, "Hey, you can start playing again." So it's kind of funny. It's kind of cheesy, but yeah. Then you go back. So I had only gotten one of the Present Yard multi-balls prior to clearing out Last Man Standing, and then after that I got Horde, Siege, and then I got a second. I think it was in that order, a second Present multi-ball. So I didn't by like a Keith Elwin standard or something like that. I didn't do extremely well. I think I was at 1.1 billion or 1.2 billion post Last Man Standing, if I remember correctly, and that was really the end of what would be in tournament play ball 2. I think I had achieved 5 stacked extra balls after that. So I kind of was so late at night, I was kind of tired, so I didn't give it about another 400 million beyond what I had achieved on ball 2. But it was a fun game. Like I said, it was a personal best. Those are always exciting.
Yeah, that always once I get to that point, where I beat the wizard mode, like I have a lot of trouble motivating myself. I usually do tank on games after I've beaten the wizard mode because I frankly just want to go dance. Basically, I did it on Scared Stiff. I got Scared Stiff completed out in Denton last week, and I was just watching the show and enjoying it.
Oh yeah, like you said, it's really exciting once you get there. I think one of the most exciting wizard modes, and I know you've gotten there, Guardians of the Galaxy, right? The cherry bomb, when you get basically 60 seconds of just free balls raining down, and as many switches as you can trigger is really to your advantage. That's a really cool one as well. So yeah, I was pretty excited to get this one, and you're right. I'm kind of the same way. One, I wasn't too prepared because it was literally the last game of the night. I was really just going there to test out and see what the new pin mat would feel like. And I got to be honest with you, playing barefoot or playing in your sock feet on that pin mat, it's a new experience for me. You're talking about different stances. I think I kept my stance locked in on that game more than anything for that reason. Not that I'm trying to promote Titan's product, but it's a really cool little mat.
What's your favorite new pinball?
I've got to be honest with you, based on the gameplay, and also being honest here that I haven't played it yet. Rick and Morty, I think, is going to be really fun. I mean, there've been some good titles come out. Stranger Things is certainly a cool one, and I would also say, I think all games in general, right? You can gravitate towards anything and find something that you love, and so I don't think there's necessarily a bad one, but I'm really anxious to get my hands on Rick and Morty. If not for my canceled travel, I would actually be going up to Wisconsin. I'd be near the area. There's a bar up there called the IO Arcade Bar, and it's near where Spooky Manufacturing is located. And so they've actually got Rick and Morty had one on site there. That's actually where I can't think of his name right now. Danger, the guy that Dead Flip, that guy. He actually went up there and streamed. Yeah, he went up there and streamed from IO Arcade Bar, and I think they did about a 2.5-hour stream on it. So it's just made my love for it even more. Of
Jack
course,
Danger.
Jack Danger, you got it. Thank you. So yeah, Jack Danger had done that. He was up there with Scott Denisi and all the other team. So I've really gravitated towards that. And you know how it is. It's like anything else in life. If you start watching a movie series or anything else, you really get into that. And I've even though we own The Walking Dead, I've never watched any of the Walking Dead series. I've never watched any of the Stranger Things series. But I have watched all of Rick and Morty, all that are available at least once. Primarily because we've got one on the way, hopefully coming in around June. So I'm pretty excited for that.
And hey, Austin, it's Josh. How are you doing?
Hey, Josh, doing well, and you?
Doing well. So, you know, as a work-at-home person myself, I had this moment the other day where I realized that, you know, as much as I work at home and maybe don't see people that often, it's still you'll go out to the gym or to the grocery store or whatever else. But just the other day I realized, you know, I haven't seen another person in 10 hours. And I was just wondering if you've had any sort of like surreal things that have snuck up on you this week now that you're completely work at home.
You know, I got to be honest with you. One of the fortunate things of my work is that I'm on video camera most of the day. In fact, I configured my video. I've actually got an external Logitech high def camera that can also do video conferencing. And so it's like having a mini office at home. And so I get to interact with a lot of people who are also on video. And I think, you know, my recommendation to people, honestly, and this is no kidding. I even recommend it to people who are like coming onto my team if they've never been in a role where you don't have that one-on-one or that just the human interaction that we normally have. It is to get on just a casual conference call where you can see someone else face to face and you can talk casually, even if it's just for 30 minutes a week. I mean, honestly, that would be my recommendation, especially now that a lot of people are going to feel that level of isolation. Me personally, I can tell you that right now that if I stay home for 2 weeks at a time and I don't get any of that face-to-face interaction, I mean, as an example, I mean, literally the past 2 days I've been on with a friend from Glasgow, Scotland, because we had some business conversations we had to have
and then
in
you
Europe.
Talk with someone with a brogue. I mean, that's great. So yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, if you don't have that, I got to be honest with you. I think you've got to go out of your way to set up a video conference or even a chat like this with someone so that you can have some interaction so that you don't feel isolated. And that would be my recommendation. And do it at least once a week. I think if you go more than about 2 weeks, you feel like the walls are starting to kind of come in on you.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I've got a friend who recently told me that they're looking at a friend of theirs said, hey, why don't we have dinner over Skype and just, you know, just sit here and talk across from each other. And, you know, it doesn't sound like a bad idea.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, yeah, I think it's wonderful. I think quite frankly, it's healthy that we still need that human interaction and that social connection, even if it's not someone 6 foot away from you, right? You still need that. I think it serves it well.
That's actually really inspiring words. I'm gonna go down with the ship here. I mean, I've already gone down with the ship, but my zombie corpse is continuing to do everything that I would do. I want to keep this community together, and that sounds kind of like inspiring and awesome. And what would you say to potentially like doing a remote version of the Pinballers podcast?
I think that would be really cool. I'll tell you something that I wish that I had more opportunity to follow up on this. I don't know if you've seen Surrogate TV. You can go check it out. To expand on not just the Pinballers podcast, I think would be really cool. And I'd definitely be up for that. But maybe even, and this might be a stretch, I'm not trying to commit anyone to anything because there's you know hours and there's some product that needs to be bought. But if you go to Surrogate TV, what Jack Danger and team did, and the pinball machine is actually over in the Netherlands, but we could even extend a concept around pinballers and have a bit of a little virtual pinball play, because you can actually set a pinball machine up to be played completely remotely. A couple of Arduinos, a couple of cameras. But if you go to Surrogate TV, I think they did it with a Batman 66, if I'm not mistaken. You can actually go online and you can play that machine, even though it's setting in the Netherlands. You can queue up and you can play it remotely. You control the flippers and everything. With a couple Arduinos and again the video. They've got it in a soundproof area so it can be played all hours of the day. And I don't have everything that I need here to do it. But I thought about that once all this started going along that path of, what even could perhaps free play do? What could we do as a community to kind of get that interest, and maybe even stream it, maybe to get some interest not only from the community but towards what the needs of the arcade are. Because I'll tell you right now, as people probably know, I think in the past 2 years I've visited some 60 or so roughly arcades around the world. And I can tell you that the arcade in Leeds, in Europe, same situation. Had to shut the doors, right? Not sure how stable they will be afterwards. And I could just go down the list, just one after another. So this is a global event, and we all have to look at it as community support. Community support is what made it successful. Community support is what is going to continue it going forward, I think.
I 100% agree with you. I'm doing everything I can. Although I do have not just limited means, like limited capabilities, like to whatever ability that you have to like that sounds fascinating. In fact, the chat is lighting up with support of that Twitch plays free play games idea that you're coming up with. But my technical ability and your technical ability, that's a level 99 mage versus where is the quarter slot for me.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where again, hindsight being what it is, I think Jack Danger was really onto something cool, and he was kind of doing it as a side project. And unfortunately, now that we're sitting here with all of this, and Amazon, not being able to prioritize things like Arduinos, because let's face it, they're not a priority shipping product. It probably would be something that would be hard to act upon. But even if we were only able to get a couple of machines going, I mean, we wouldn't necessarily have to do it at scale. And while I have the skills and I haven't done it before, my other thing is time, right? So that's why I kind of let in with my world is almost unchanged. It's still just work. But at the same time, I'm like, I really wish I had more time to commit to this, because this is something I love. This is something I'm passionate about. So even if we couldn't go to that point of maybe tournament play with the virtual machine set up, again, the example I used of Surrogate TV, at least having the Pinballers podcast, talking about stuff, and maybe even doing, I don't know, like a live camera stream of someone like you or Brennan, or just anyone from the community that wants to get up and play a game. I mean, Mike B, I've seen that guy play, Ghostbusters and the like. I mean, let's not forget about him here. He is
absolutely not
crazy good
we
pinballer.
can never.
Crazy good pinballer.
Celebrity even.
Celebrity level, most definitely.
Anything that I've been saying this a lot lately. I've been saying it in the private chats. Like anything you want to do, my answer is pretty much yes at this point. I know you are very constricted on time because you're so busy with work. But if you wanna start a long-term project where you sort of set something like that up, I don't recommend you come out to Free Play Richardson to set something like that up. So more like if you want to hook up one of yours in the side room with this, because you're talking about robot play basically, right?
It is. It's just exactly that. It's 100% robot play. But the cool thing is you do have, in essence, right? It's like you got control over the flippers and everything. So it is as though you're playing the machine right there. So it's cool in that respect because. You get a lot of the feel. Obviously, you don't have the tactical feel. You don't have that kinesthetic feel when you make a shot, but you still get to control the machine and see your actions, right? That's the cool thing.
Well, the answer to a Pinballers podcast where we could Discord in like this, I think this is realistic. Your time notwithstanding, I would love to do it. I have pretty much infinite time at this point, and really we need content in 2-hour chunks and local content, and that would be great. And I can facilitate that sort of thing, especially with your capability of coming on Discord so easily. I'm sure we could talk Brennan through, and Shannon has been coming out, to be honest with you. So the fact that I can turn on Total Nuclear Annihilation and bribe her with that means we could have the full Pinballers setup pretty realistically. Now that being said, if you wanna set up a robot pinball machine and it takes a couple months to set it up, we got nothing but time as the world seems to have ended around us. And like the answer would be hell yes, and I would be happy to facilitate in any way I can. Unfortunately, we had all of our resources stripped away from us all at once, so it's kind of on you if you want to do it. And oh my God, my heart would explode out of warmth, but also I know how big of a thing that is, and I know how you don't have time. So, you know, that's a really interesting proposition, but it is what it is. Let me know if you just magically have a robot that plays games, because knowing you, Austin Smith, it might accidentally happen because you are crazy like that.
It could for sure. I'll definitely keep you posted. And like you said, worst case scenario is, hey, maybe we get Brennan and Shannon to come up there if they wanted to, right? I know it's a little bit of a drive for Brennan, but it is for Shannon as well.
That can happen, or remotely it can happen with the blah blah blah. Sorry, I got it can happen, but it can happen with the Discord as well. Like you can be on Discord, because I don't want to put your health in danger. I do want to practice social distancing as much as possible. So I can be here and man the computer, and then but let me throw it over to Josh. He had something on his mind.
Sure.
Oh no, sorry. I was just cutting in to let you know. Lauren she hit 679. Austin, I don't know if you've been watching the stream. Lauren's been just tearing through some tapper again like she does, and I think she was 150 points away from snagging a free life, and has taken it down right then. But
nice.
Yeah. We've been just watching her. Have you been able to tune into the stream at all this week? Is there anything that you saw that was something you're really happy to see, or extra moving, or anything like that?
You know, I'll be honest with you. I haven't had as much time to watch. I did pop in just a couple of times just to watch the stream, and I think the times that I did, it was mostly when I viewed it, at least. I think Chris was talking at the time, so I haven't had the opportunity to see any of the other players or any of the other content, unfortunately. But I think that's really cool, especially the fact that you know, everyone, you know, as a community again is coming together, right? Bringing all of their different talents to bear as we do, right? So Lauren and Tapper, perfect marriage, right? I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear.
Always.
One of it, at least one perfect marriage, yes. Speaking of perfect marriages, I want to ask about you're the number 4 rated Hall of Famer. I want to ask about the number 3 rated Hall of Famer. Her week is coming up. How's Tracy doing with all of this? Tracy Smith.
You know, Tracy is handling it quite well. You know, I think, as I mentioned, you know, I have her set up to work from home. We're fortunate in that we've got, you know, space where we can be far enough away from each other so that we're not interrupting one another when we're on calls or anything like that. But yeah, she seems to be enjoying it. She also can work completely remote and has been instructed to do so as a requirement of her work. And so that's not normal for her. Normally she does go in a few days out of the week and works on one day out of the week. But yeah, she's handling it really nice. I mean, you know, again, I think we were incredibly fortunate. We normally keep things kind of stocked up, and so that, you know, that kind of craziness and everyone lurching about to get certain products, just it didn't impact us. But I know that not everyone is in that position. So again, I just I feel for everyone who's not there. You know what I mean? And we had a couple of weeks supply of food and everything else on hand, so it's kind of been a non-event for us, other than the fact that we would obviously like to have a little bit more social interaction. We're not starving for that yet.
Sure. And I think that's, you know, something we're all going through, and you know, there's that feeling even when you go out of trying to keep distance from everyone else, and it's a different way to live, but I think that we're all doing a lot to get through this, and it sounds like you two are doing great, and that's fantastic to hear.
That's what we want to hear. Like, yeah. Some good news from anybody that we love, and we certainly love both of you, is it warms up our heart. Like, that's why we're talking to each other. That's why we're all talking to each other. And I am so happy to hear that you guys are doing well. Man, it's been a lot of bad news out there, and we're kind of sharing and grieving together. But having good news is, oh my goodness, it warms my heart. Like you have inspiring words. Thank you for joining us. Oh my goodness.
No, again, I appreciate the invite.
I lost it on the. Lost my momentum there. Got verklempt. Can you tell us about your experience with Free Play Arcade? Do you like? Well, first of all, have you heard about our situation? You know what's going on and all that.
So I'll tell you my experience, and some of you in the community may know this. You may have heard this before, but I'd be willing to bet you that not everyone has. So if you look at where we are today with I don't know, 5 or 6 pinball machines and I think 25 arcades. I don't. It's roughly that, something like that. If you roll that back just a couple of years, the number of pinball and arcade machines we had were 0. And the first one that I got was Defender. And the reason why I got Defender is because a lot of you know in the community that was kind of my game back in the day. That was the first game I would say I really mastered, and so it was a love for me. And I always told myself I didn't want to have one of these because I am a computer engineer by formal training. I didn't want to have one of these things that, quite frankly, was created prior to any of my involvement in electronics, and it doesn't predate my existence. Obviously, it came out when I was 9 years old, but it's not far away from predating my existence. And so I didn't want to have one of these things that's kind of a noose hanging around your neck, so to speak. And if it wasn't for the community, if it wasn't for the establishment and kind of the decision that folks like Corey and Richard made to really start the business, and really not knowing where it was going to go, and seeing that what they created was something that had always been in demand. It really had always been there. And then the community, quite frankly, Chris, I credit you with building around it. I mean, it was just a perfect storm. And so for me,
it was mostly coincidence too, because they opened up a shop. Like, I didn't have a car, and literally right down the street I could walk there. That's where Free Play Richardson was, and I had always had the inclination of starting a community group around a business because I felt like they could be symbiotic. And I had done this. I basically run the UTD parties, or parties at my place around UTD that were video game oriented, much in a way in which you would be very familiar with because you participate. But I had always dreamed of doing that, and I thought maybe it would be like a GameStop or something like that. I wasn't too proud. I just wanted a local gaming group, and then literally the best arcade in the country randomly opened up right down the street. So that's what inspired me.
And like you said, it was fortuitous on so many levels that you were there, that you had the love for the scene that you wanted to bring about. Quite frankly, the influence you had over it really can't be understated. And then you've got someone who, again, has Corey's drive, his business acumen, all the skills that Richard brought to the table. I mean, it was just such a perfect situation. And I don't pretend to know all of that, but I've been around the community. I think people know that I have a love for the games. And even though I haven't been there, quite frankly, if you look over the past 2 months, I haven't frequented. Tracy and I are usually there 2 or 3 times a week. And it's just where I am in my role right now with my organization work-wise. Normally we were up there 2 or 3 times a week, even with the collection we have at home. Why? Because we weren't looking to replace it and the experience and isolate ourselves. Quite honestly, we know we don't want to do that, because if you ever look at the special or it's a documentary called Special and Lit, you'll see there's a level of game collection that you probably don't want to get to, and so we know that we don't want to get to that point, right, where we're climbing over 3 levels of pinballs deep to get into EAT, as an example. So the net is, we weren't trying to replace anything at Free Play with the collection. It was really a love with the games that was rekindled that I really and truly do, and I've told this to Corey, I've told this to Richard in person. I've told them both this, that if not for them, we wouldn't have the collection we do, and we wouldn't have the love rekindled for it, because a lot of people in the community, the only thing I had known, unfortunately, for a long time was the experience of a Dave and Buster's and the like, and it's cringeworthy, right? When you think of what other arcades, quote unquote, right, that we were getting for a long time, what they were really offering us, and that's not really what any of the customers wanted. Not that are true enthusiasts like us, like Lauren, who's going to come in and do a world record on a game that predates our birth, if I'm not mistaken. It's not far from that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
by 10 years. Yeah.
You're right. So I mean, that's a next level kind of love for something. And I'm not talking about just marathon games. it's any game, any genre. I don't care if the game takes 15 minutes to finish. I don't care if it's a continuous game, like a Tapper or Defender or whatever, right? It's whatever you love. I mean, that was the whole point. There was something there for everyone, and it wasn't 9 tickets to the world record. I guess is how I would put it.
Yeah, and I think that that's something we've all come to appreciate is, you do have your home collection, and I'm sure if you have friends over, you all play, and that alone is something that makes the game that much more fun. But there is something different about coming into a place and being surrounded by them and everything else, and just the community that's been built here. It not to sound too pompous about ourselves, but it crosses all lines because we're just here to play games and have fun. And I think that's what draws everybody in over and over, and why we've made so many great connections with people we would have never met otherwise. If you have a pool table in your house, you're going to play pool every so often, but going out with some friends and meeting some other people and everything else, like, that is a totally different experience. And I think that we were just, there weren't a lot of other social experiences out there like this. You mentioned Dave and Buster's, but that's little, clusters of people going to spend time by themselves, not going out there to make new friends.
No, yeah, you're spot on. I couldn't agree with you more. You talk about the diverse backgrounds that everyone has, but they're just all there to play games. Nothing really matters other than that shared experience, right? And yeah, you can talk about all the other great things too. I really and truly believe that. I mean, Tracy and I would come up there and spend all day sometimes, open to close, and I know that's not unique in our experience. I know there's others in the community do that exact same thing, and why? Well, you can sit there and eat. You can grab a drink if you wanted an alcohol. You've got a wide variety, a wide selection, but the games are always at the core of it, right? From the classics, the golden age, all the way up to the newest. And again, I think you have to have a certain care and a certain love for that, and that's what I think a lot of people don't get, and that's what I always saw in free play is it's the love for that feeling and that experience, but regardless of what may come, success or otherwise, and obviously you want to run it like a business, but and then the timing of everything that's happened, right, with the virus and going through the expansion. I mean, it's I know it's incredibly unfortunate, and I just hope that I myself, obviously we jumped in to support on Patreon the first day. I know there's gift cards, there's merchandise that are available. I mean, Corey's posted not only a pinball, a Batman 66 machine, but others that are out there to try and raise funds. I mean, I feel like everyone is doing what they can while also honoring social distancing and everything else, and not causing any problems for anyone. And I think that's one of the things that kind of hampers our efforts too, because I mean, me personally, I mean, as long as it were legal, I mean, I'd love to see us get like one kitchen together and do, now that we've got food ordering and they've allowed for alcohol delivery, kind of across the board. I'd like to do something around that as a community effort, maybe open up Arlington, right? But you can't do that. I mean, there's so many things I'd like to do, but you just can't do.
I can tell you that Corey is planning, not planning, this is what we're going to do. On Sunday, we're going to have a test run. We have a 40 craft beer. Now they changed the laws in response to this, I guess, where you can deliver beer and cider with a food order. Yes. So we are going to open it up. We have some stock here.
Richardson only.
Richardson only. It'll be 40 craft beers and craft ciders available, as well as a 10 menu item. There is a super skeleton crew coming in that consists of Carlos on the grill, of course. Carissa will be packaging the packaged products, and when I'm not streaming here, I'm going to be delivering. So the three of us are going to try and sell what we can so people can come in and pick up to-go orders if they so choose, or if they're in the very, very limited footprint and it hasn't been decided yet what it is, then I can just run it over there when I'm not streaming, or like I'll pause streaming to go do that. So we're going to do everything we can to just get every little bit of revenue in here. Just it's not even about making money anymore. It's just about surviving until the end of this horror.
Trying to get some padding so we can get through, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I'm so glad to hear that y'all are doing that. I mean, that's awesome. I hope it's a success. And I know that, from a liability perspective, you can't just have anyone from the community go up there and get that. I get that. I know that Corey and team would shiver over thinking about that. But at the same time, I hope if there is an opportunity for the community to support in whatever small way they can, we do that. I'd love to even see that expand out. Maybe, you know, I know licensing kind of goes out the window. My understanding, I read the new act that the governor had signed in. That basically, as long as you have an alcohol license, I'd love to see the growlers brought over after they've dumped all the product out of Denton and brought over whatever remains that they might have and used at Arlington, because Arlington, probably has a lot of beer sitting over there too that could be put on tap. I know they don't have as many taps. Fort Worth has a huge tap wall. Denton has a huge tap wall, but you get the idea. Just the point I'd be making is, it's all this product that can be out, gotten out the door, gets out the door, because you sat there and you let it linger too long. Well, it's no longer any good, right? So
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
that's great. I'm glad to hear y'all are doing that.
Except for maybe some stouts. Those can sit for a little while. They'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're doing everything we can. No stone left unturned. I'm trying to get people to help me, basically man the stream. We kind of, I'm officially out of a job, I guess, starting tomorrow. I file for my disaster unemployment, but we're gonna have, same with Josh over here. It sucks, but we have Josh Rylander basically lives across the street. I live very close. We can come up here and man the stream and potentially, like, I don't know. I envision this as a beacon of hope for our community, because not just our community, our little baby community of 6,000, but really there isn't a lot of DFW like live programming available throughout this awfulness.
Yeah.
If you go on the radio, that you can listen to radio stations that are playing music and you can hear the hits, but like, can you really like get the feeling of interacting with your fellow Dallasites who are going through this? There are some, but not a lot, and we're doing this together. And I feel like what we're doing should be infectious. Like, if you watch this for a little bit, you'll understand that your family, and if you start messaging in here with us in the chat, like, you'll understand how how serious we take this family and how welcoming we are. And we're big enough to deal with some people who are stuck at home, working at home, stuck at home, infectious. Yes, like it just got put in the chat. We have the time for you. This is a group coping mechanism in my mind, and it should be shared outside of the group of free play to just the greater Dallas area, because this is rough for all of us, and I really, if we're gonna pull through this, then we're gonna do it right. We're gonna do it together, with social distancing, of course. It seems so weird to say it that way, but like, a group pulling our efforts together to find a way to use the technology to keep us together, and maybe play a game or two on the side.
Yeah, no, I definitely love the spirit of it. I'd even like to see if we could maybe get into a group video session, using Discord. From what I understand, you can set it up for that too. I know I had mine set up for it, just didn't have it on for this, but I think that would be really cool. Like you said, want to keep the kind of community's spirits up, and one of the things you mentioned, right? I mean, so unfortunate to hear not only yourselves being impacted, but everyone else at Free Play, and then everyone else outside of Free Play that was impacted, because in the service industry, your job is pretty much tied to that, and if they've got to shut the doors, your job's no longer there. So I hope everyone is doing.
Literally every bartender, every service member in the whole, really everywhere in the country, if not the world, is done. So it is grave, and it is a big thing.
Which at least having something like what we're doing Sunday, that's just been signed into law, that at least we can get some product out, do something. It's one person instead of the 6 or 7 that would normally be here over the course of a week, but it's something.
Yeah, and I hope that everyone gets, I understand, filing for emergency unemployment and all of that. I understand that there's a lot of things that are underway. I hope everyone in the community understands, if they've got a mortgage and all of the mechanisms that have been put into place to help everyone not stress over the situation as it is, and that's what I just feel so um, bad about. But at the same time, I'm glad that all of these mechanisms have been put in place. I just hope that everyone is taking advantage of everything that is available to them.
Well, I can tell you personally that I am not, because I am stuck streaming for 10 hours a day, and I'm going down with the ship. So yeah, if you can, well, I guess I would ask a couple things. You had something on your mind, clearly. If you might say something about what your thoughts are on those thoughts, like with how people can seek out help right now. And also, since we're just doing this on the air and I can't really type, send me an email with that as well, because you would be a great help to me personally.
Absolutely, yeah. So let me talk about a couple of things, and I won't be able to cite the material verbatim because just like you, I've been working 12 and 13-hour days, but things that have scrolled across my screen, even information that's been passed on my work. So you mentioned, right, the emergency unemployment. The other thing that's been signed in and I don't want to use the term law, I don't want to misspeak here, but things that have been signed in for relief is if you are renting or if you have a mortgage, it doesn't matter what your situation is. No one can be evicted for the next 60 days. I don't know if you're aware of that. I can pull down
Is
all
it
the
up to
links to this.
60 days? Because I had read just the other day that it was no one before, like somewhere in the middle of April. I didn't know they had extended it that far.
Well, I know the one article that I read was at Texas state level was initially 60, or the last one I read was 60 days. And I would say that's an important call out. These situations are so fluid. I also don't want to pretend that I'm the authority, but what I will do, Chris, I'll get these as talking points maybe on your next stream. I'll gather a list of different, not just newsworthy, but legitimate, news sources that talk about this. So the 60 days, no eviction, I know was one thing that I read. And again, I believe this is from Governor Abbott. I'll have to pull it up just to make sure, because I want to make sure everything I'm citing is credible as well. But Bank of America, if you have a mortgage through Bank of America, they, I believe, have extended it out even farther than that to say that you have a much longer period than even 60 days of leeway with them. And so there's obviously details you need to look into around that. Obviously, there's some government support that may be coming our way in the means of checks up to $1,000. I haven't looked at the details around that. But what I will do is I'll collect all these things that are, again, from credible sources. I'll put them in I'll message you or put them in an email to you, Chris, because I've got all your contact information, as you know. And that way, if you want to kind of review them, because again, I'll make sure they're all valid news sources. The ones I read, I know for a fact are. But the point being, if you are in hurt right now in one way or another, right? If you're lacking medical supplies, if you're lacking this or that other thing, anything that's critical to your well-being, right? Food, everything else. I would say you've got a means of support in place. And the only reason why I haven't looked into all of them, and now you're giving me the impetus to do so, because right, you're telling me, hey, Austin, I've been over here, I've been working this whole time, the world's passing me by, and I'm the one in need of support. What better way to kind of force me down this path but to collect all these? But the net is
I'll be happy to share it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I can use my platform such as it is to share it.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I mean that's the message I would want to leave everyone. Obviously, I'll go through. I'll see if I can do it tonight, perhaps before tomorrow morning. Put something together that will have a lot of these resources so that you can speak to. But I would leave everyone with this kind of a comforting thought, right, around this particular subject. Is, if you're hurting, whatever it may be, I would be willing to bet you there's been something that has been put in place for you. Even, and I know this is almost kind of in jest, but even one of the local liquor distilleries is actually taking their ability to do that and creating like a hand sanitizer product they're giving away for free. Kid you not, they're only doing like 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday. But the kind of spirit of humanity that I think is taking place around this is overwhelming, and we, as much as we can, let's share that credible information so that people can make use of this that need it.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Austin. Thank you for leaving with that. We look forward to hearing from you again. We're going to keep this ship floating as long as we possibly can and going to try and keep together. But I really just want to leave you and Tracy with one message from me, and that could come from the entire community group, which is we love you and we're thinking of you.
100%.
Hey, we appreciate it, and thanks again for inviting me. We'll, again, collect that information, and I hope everyone stays safe. Take care, and I hope we'll see you all again soon at one of our favorite free play locations. Y'all take care.
Same here.
You too. Bye-bye. Well, there you go, Austin Smith. Now, can I say he's a Hall of Famer? Like,
in life?
That's why he's a Hall of
Yes,
Famer.
yes,
Yes,
you
he
can
is a
say that.
Hall of Famer. That man is amazing. I've been over to his house.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I know, like, big brag, right?
No, but for real, yeah.
No, I went over to his house, and we sat around the porch, and me and Tracy and Austin, and we sort of talked about, like, there's some people that you know that, like, whatever the situation is in the world, in life, no matter what, like, you put them there, and they're going to find a way.
Yeah.
And, like, he's one of them.
Well, and a lot of people have that in a very survivalist, I'm going to have guns. Or,
That's
you
one.
know,
That's one
That's one
situation.
kind, but
Every situation.
being around Austin, I expect him to be like a 6th level black belt in some martial art or something, because he has something inside of him that is just this calm, but so knowledgeable, so powerful. Like, he's just
So he's one. He's one of the best video game
Yeah.
players I've ever seen.
right. Yeah.
He's older than I am, and even older than Beltran,
Even
believe it
older
or
than
not.
me.
Yeah. So, but he still competes at a strong enough level to beat Dylan Smith at the Spring Series. Like,
yeah.
he's incredibly proficient at whatever he does, but he's also just the sweetest human being, as you can tell by those words. Actually, Dials, if you're listening, if you're with us, would you mind highlighting that entire show? I feel like that needs to be clipped, and that whole, like, segment there I would like to re-upload by itself up to the community group and share it around, because I don't think it gets better than what we just did right there.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's as great as he is. You know, I do feel like he's not a lurker, but he's somebody you have to know, because he's not showy. He's not going to be doing. He's always here. Like you said, he and Tracy are here 2-3 times a week. But also, if you're not looking for him, he's just a guy hanging out and having fun playing some games.
Right,
So,
right, exactly.
Yeah,
And
great.
I wrote up about him. So he is literally the number 4 on the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And so you sent me the art package, one of the last things we got to do officially.
Yeah.
And I wrote up the write-up, the full thing for Austin Smith, and it made me reflect on, like, how he came to being. And yes, he is quiet, and yes, he's really a lurker, really.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
he's not one to step up and say, "Hey, I'm here and look at me, look at me." That's literally the opposite of Austin.
Yes,
and
very
what
much
happened?
so.
Do you happen to remember how he came into being in our community?
No.
Or at least into prominence? Do you remember the free play chain? I bet you do, because you made the art for it.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I think we should bring back the free play chain in some way.
Yeah.
Because, we may not be able to be at the arcade, but F it, we got MAME,
Well,
whatever.
If we do, I have to redo the art, because I'm.
No. You don't need to redo the art, because you need to do things like secure employment
more
and
things,
take care of you.
That doesn't sound fun.
There's
All
other
right.
stuff. There's other stuff. There's other stuff that
Yes.
you can use. But
The chain.
so the free play chain was a thing where, let's see if I can remember the concept. You set a high score
Right.
on a machine.
Pick a game. Yeah.
Pick a game.
Yep.
The first person to start a link on the chain picks a game, and maybe it's Tapper, right?
Yep.
And then you
But
set
not
up.
Lauren in this case.
Not Lauren, although it was Lauren in one case,
Right,
but
it was,
like
yeah.
Lauren. So you set a high score on that machine. Now these machines were reset every day, almost all of them.
Right.
So the high scores were very obtainable when you flip on the machine. Like,
Yeah.
and I can't tell you how many times I heard, "Oh my goodness, I just blew up the high score on
Yeah.
Galaga. I got the arcade
Wow,
record,"
did
and and they just want to show it off. And I'm
It's
like,
just those
that is
games
that is
lying to us. That's
awesome.
what they do.
And if you'd
Yeah.
like another level, we keep the actual high scores too.
Right. Yeah.
But no, it was the daily high score that was important. So you flip on Galaga, you decided you wanted to play Galaga, you set the high score on Galaga, you take a picture with your wristband like we do, and you post it up to the community group, and that would form the first link of the free play chain, and it would be you made a cool art where you're the number one up here, right?
Yeah.
And then the next day, starting the next day, and for the next week, somebody could pick up that baton and go and beat that score that you just did.
You didn't have to beat the high score that was on the machine now, just whatever that person's
whatever
score
that score becomes the target score.
Yeah.
And maybe it's high, maybe it's low, maybe it's intermediate. Who knows?
Yeah.
It just depends on the talent and the will for a player to set it wherever they wanted it. And the playfulness, yeah. Some people took it to trolling, so they tried to set the highest score possible that can't be reached.
Yeah.
And then some, made it very obtainable. I know Austin did that, but. So you would get to dictate what the community was playing for the next week, or at least that was the idea. And that is pretty much how it worked.
You've got the game of the month right now, and it was almost like a game of the week.
Yeah. So, and sometimes more rapid than that, as people were bang, bang, bang getting
I
onto
couldn't
it.
remember if we forced a week. Oh, no, the week was the time limit, but you didn't have to.
Right. It could be daily. It had to be a day.
Right.
It couldn't have multiple in a day.
At least the next day.
Yeah. So it could be a daily thing, but it was at most a week. But it was at most a week. So there was a weekly time limit. And it was also your way of potentially dictating what the game of the week is. You didn't have to ask me. You just go up to the free play chain.
Right, because of course the idea was after you've broken the score that was set before you, you then pick a new game.
Right.
And then you go set a high score of your own.
Right. So so this all went all well and good for about 15 days, and we had a 20 link chain, so it's it's like this,
and
it's
printed at home.
It's like this and like this and like this and like this, and it just keeps going on, and we're all bonding. And once you're on the chain, you can't do it again.
Right.
Because you're a part of the chain, and we're all 20, not practicing social distancing, holding hands virtually across this train, all together, trying to indicate that all these games and all these players are bonded by this, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of slowly started to gain some meaning to us that we're already in the chain, except we couldn't extend it. And I left myself out as a trump card. I'm a bit of a generalist, so if I'm needed to come in there,
I imagine you can set the high score on
virtually anything in here. Yes,
yeah.
The default high score.
Right,
I
the
think
default,
so. Yeah. So I was able to if it got close, I could come in there and save it, right? And I did it. I came in there and saved it. And when it was ice cold beer, Corey came in and saved it.
Such a great game.
Yeah. So things like that. But at that point, we had 15, and I remember it was Doug Galt, and the game was like Joust, and somebody set a big score on Joust, but it didn't matter because Doug Galt just ran them down.
Yeah.
And then he set a high score on Defender. Do you play Defender?
Oh, I have played Defender, but I wouldn't say I play Defender.
Yeah. Do you know the default high score?
No.
I want to say it's 27,000 points.
Less than 30.
But it's the Dr. J score. It's Dr. J always. That's the default score.
Interesting.
And Doug beat. So Doug knew what he was doing as far as extending the chain and inspiring people to play his game.
Right.
But he beat the Dr. J score by the smallest margin you could possibly do it, which should be very achievable. Except Defender is hard if you're a new player. It is hard because it's got an obscure control mechanic. It's a classic Williams game, but it's got all buttons, and there's a reverse button over here.
Well,
it's like
the
a
forever
mech
scrolling
game.
level is a little weird to people to catch on. You've got the radar, but that's hard to watch while you're trying to dodge bullets and catch people and everything else.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
It's one of the most complex games of its era, and it's actually beloved because of it. The people who love Defender, they love Defender.
There's a whole news radio episode about it, I think, right?
Is it really? I don't know.
So.
That would involve watching the TV, and I don't even know.
I mean, this was in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Next Generation, I wasn't watching it in the 90s. This Defender score was just out of reach, basically. I mean, it wasn't big. It was, and I felt bad for Doug. Doug.
That was not his intention.
No, not at all. He just wanted people to play his game, right? He
Yeah.
just wanted to inspire people to play because he played Joust. That's a Williams game, and Defender. That's a Williams game.
Yeah.
And there's a small subsect of players who are basically Williams players. So we're in trouble.
Yeah.
We're in trouble, and it's in trouble right away. And I knew I can't play. And we're in big trouble. I was frowny face at Doug for even setting the score because I knew there was no way, right? So I immediately get to work. Whenever we got into that situation, I would just go find the master of that game because I have the free play arcade high score list. Go find them, go get them, do what I can to motivate them to come out and just save the chain, basically. Well, Doug was the high score holder for Defender, so there's no there's no one to contact, and those that I did know of that were kind of okay at Defender, you know, older, maybe not so, a little bit social media averse.
Yeah.
So that was tough as well. So
no Doug in glasses and a mustache. That's not gonna.
No. It had to be a chain. It's all of us holding hands together across this arcade, basically, or that was the idea. So I put it out there in the community group, just basically a blanket help us. Like, we can't do it. Like, we're trying.
Yeah.
Give it a try. If you've never played before, it's hard. I've done it, but it's hard. And if you're an old pro, this is going to be a snap. This is a nothing contest, right?
Yeah.
It's not happening, buddy. I come in on the last day. It's the last day. The chain's about to be broken. 15 people and dang near 15 weeks worth of work is about to be washed away and reset. And I see a guy playing Defender. And I was like, sweet, someone's playing Defender. Let me see if he's knows what he's doing. He's blowing it away, like crushing Defender. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This man can do it.
Yeah.
Now my mission is different. I'm going to engage him like I normally do.
Right.
I'm going to tell him who I am. I'm going to give him my card. I don't work here, by the way.
Number 10,000 here. Hi, I'm Chris
from
the community group. Yeah.
Right. And I don't work here, and this is going to sound weird, but here we go.
Yeah.
So that may have been early in my employment, to be honest with you. But either way, I went to him, and I started my spiel, and he greeted me, Austin. He's very nice, and he said hi, and we started getting into contact. And I was like, I noticed you're good at Defender. And he's like, yeah, I've been playing it since blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I started to go into the free play chain, and he's like, oh, I know. That's why me and Tracy came up here, was just to extend the train.
Perfect.
2 lurkers in the community group.
Yeah.
They were shy. They didn't want to pay attention to it, but they kind of on the side glanced at what we were doing as a community, and that was the thing that brought out Austin Smith. And it was you knew what you had right away, because Austin and Tracy are both incredibly special individuals, amazingly talented game players. They certainly saved the free play chain. I want to say they passed it back to, like, Austin did it, then Tracy did it.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they are all linked together. We have that 20. You have yours.
I have mine printed at home.
I have mine as well. I printed it because I worked at a print shop at the time.
This was when you still worked there.
Yeah,
yeah.
So I printed it out and had this custom art piece, and I tried. I got mine autographed by about 3-quarters of the people in the chain.
I remember it was on photo paper. It was nice.
Yeah, no, it was nice. It was nice. It was 110 pound a cardstock. So it was
for the printing nerds out there. You're welcome.
Yes, it was extra brightness, 100 bright, 110 pounds. So that was the good stuff for sure.
Yeah.
And it looked sharp. Your art looked banging on that thing. And I had each one of them had a picture of the person.
Yeah. The game marquee or the game title screen. One of those.
Yeah, and the high score. And it might be so small you don't see it, but who cares? That's not the point of it. The point is the games and the people, and they're holding hands, and there it is. A printing nerd reporting in for duty. Yeah, but Ian, you're a printing nerd, but like I had access to a full printing shop, so it was like that. General says the Atari 2600 Defender was a lot easier to control. Yeah, I agree it was. It was, yeah, and a joystick, yeah. So
a joystick that would always creak like no other joystick I ever
You're right.
Yeah.
I did love that system though. Man, I played the heck out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the free play chain got us to it, and that's good times.
Yeah.
Is Lord Beltran done eating already so he can take over and start playing?
Is that what's going on?
Yes. Oh, he's just waving at us. Thanks. Just keep us on the island. Cool. Oh my goodness. Please, but yeah, if you guys are in the chat, please mark that whole show for us so I can repost it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Shannon tunes in. I thought if you beat the person's score that you would pick a new game. Yes. Yeah. So that's how it works.
We kind of got stuck in the middle of the explanation. But
sorry. Yeah. You beat the person's score, then you picked a new game, then you set your own score, and then that was the one that we're chasing.
So
yeah, that's how you link the chain, and that's how you choose who is playing what the next day.
So that meant 21 games total between the chain?
I think
that math makes sense if our brains are working.
No, 20, right? Because it ends. The first one is just one.
Last person, so 20.
Yeah.
Still, so 20 games, and it was. I know there was a bonus for bouncing between locations.
Yeah,
so
there was a overly complex rule set for the Hall of Fame point.
Richardson and Arlington at that point.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And I want, well, that was another thing is I wanted to link the Richardson and the Arlington communities and make sure that like I was integrating
it was such
them.
an unknown at the time. I
Right.
mean, this had been here for just over a year, and then Arlington's there. So yeah.
Yeah, and I did
say how that's going to work out.
I did like when it snuck over to Arlington and kind of stayed there, and
Yeah,
they were holding it and passing it back and forth, and then
purposely grabbing games that are only on the floor at Arlington.
Right. I remember another one that was my favorite was I think it was Rob Rodriguez, who was a notorious Super Turbo player for being unforgiving and just smashing everybody's dreams.
There's no such thing as easy mode on Rob.
No. He's very about winning the game as quickly and efficiently as possible, and that's the only mode he has.
And it's fine.
It is fine.
Works.
Yeah. But and it's like he's a nice guy. I know him.
For sure.
And he's really emotionless about it, other than like he likes to winning and he hates losing. But like who doesn't?
But there's no I'm playing my cousins at Mario Kart 64 and I'm gonna slow down from there's none of that.
No. And like he gets to the next level of play only by pressing him to that next level.
Right.
Like he will stay on his level and keep winning at that. So that's how he's most notable in the free play arcade community. But he also was a double dragon champion.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have a long play that's him and Chad Robinson beating all of Double Dragon. It's one of the first things I actually filmed with my monopod and everything was Rob and Chad Robinson being the twins fighting through Double Dragon on 1 credit or 2 credits technically and beating the whole thing. And they had both done it individually and they were trading back on the high score, but this was the first time that they had tried and they successfully did beat the game all in 1 credit. And you know what happens at the end? Because they didn't.
What? No, I don't.
They had to fight to the death.
You're kidding. I never knew this.
Yeah, it gets all the way to the end. That's like one of the first videos on the YouTube page.
I don't know how I missed this one. Oh my
so
goodness.
they get all the way to the ending. Hey, Mike, set up a game so that you can take over and give us a break and play. Cool.
Yeah, and Ian, you should always be afraid of Chun's throw because it has the most reach. That's fine.
Yeah.
But no, that's fantastic. Wait, so do you know who won?
Do I know who won? I believe it was Rob. I want to say it was Rob who won, even though Chad had the high score and I think still maintains the high score. But I don't. That's I'm 50% sure that's the case.
Maybe we will dig that up for a replay.
It is there.
Overnight.
It is there. I saved all the video from all the stuff all the time ever, which was about
the monopod cell phone videos.
I've got Lauren Featherstone doing the Delpa race.
Oh yeah.
It's never been put together, but I have all the raw footage.
Yeah,
it was just waiting to be put together. I thought it was important to chronicle all that stuff, not for the day the world ended and we would be podcasting for 24 hours a day.
That's exactly why you did it.
Not the point. My point was to give us our history.
Yeah.
Like I felt like being a community, like you grow a history, right? And it's really important to get to that point where you have your history.
Right.
And when it was just me and some numbnuts, right? Like I had to be the chronicler so that someone else could come back, so that we could have this conversation and I could be like, you know what, you can go see it.
As anyone who knows me well knows I have terrible memory. So all photos and videos are welcome at all points. In fact, I was looking through my old photos trying to find something to post up to the group. Everybody's been sharing some memories. And I find a photo of this character behind you playing a pinball game. I don't know who he is. And I'm at Spring Series 1. And there's a big banner with MK2 underneath it, and there's a guy in an Ultimate Warrior t-shirt playing some pinball.
Was he a swole Latino guy?
He was swole Latino guy. There were shirts or sleeves on the shirt, so that kind of threw it off. But I'm pretty sure that was him.
Freelancer Tex is screaming for the Delpa race. There was a moment. So we've had our disaster plans, and then we've had them crushed, and then we've had disaster plans again, and we've had them crushed. There was a moment, and it's not possible in the current configuration of the arcade, but within the week where I was just like, this is the time. The Delpa race needs to come back, and we can do it right now.
We did unfortunately give it a name that is tagged to something that really doesn't mean as much anymore. The DARPA race has come and gone.
Right,
I feel
right.
Like it's not in the common spoken language right now.
Toya's Delpa race was awesome, says Jay Palmer. That's correct. She set the shots record steering the Delpa race. Oh, I hear some Metal Slug. You gonna go with Metal Slug there? All right. Can you set it back whenever you're done with it too? Because I do want to play. I'm gonna give you a. Be careful there. We can't fix it. This is like the end of the world. Remember? Let's kill the capture there for a sec.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Ian. The Jerry donating and hearing the Jerry laugh because of his donation. That's
nice.
That's a perfect clip.
Nice. But it was not the Jerry. It was Jerry G. Jerry G. I've grown to love Jerry G as well. I hope I can get him out here in the relatively near future because he's great on the microphone and he's really held it down on the Tuesday Night Fights.
Oh, for sure. That man is the antithesis of me on the microphone. He can fill all of the time.
All the time, yeah. No, you're. Don't sell yourself short.
No, you weren't here earlier. It's fine. It's fine.
Don't sell yourself short.
We can't all be everything.
You're doing just fine. There was another comment I wanted to go to. Let's see. I think it was Ian's. You guys are looking to him for wisdom in a time of uncertainty about Austin. Certainly true. I like that this stream has become an awesome morning radio show. I don't know how awesome it is, but that is my design. Like that's what I want it to be because. No, don't get me wrong. I want Michael Beltran to get the stupid game set up and play it already because that's going to give us a break.
Yeah.
But I envision this as a back and forth. We have our discussion because this is important and you be a part of it. And it needs to be more than just me talking to the camera. Like you and me, that's great.
Yeah.
You and me and one other person, that's also great.
Yeah.
But let's have a communal discussion.
Yeah.
And a morning talk show, if you will. We even got the drops. We got the drops. We're ready to go, buddy.
I'm here. Where y'all at?
And he's right over there.
Legally, they're not allowed in here.
True. But like, you know, we're set up to go. Or we're calling for Carlitos.
Carlitos Arcade.
Yes, sir.
So
we have the drops. We have everything that we need to do that. Except for, infinite. Well, we have infinite time, too. But then, talk. Let's talk to each other. And then let's throw it to a game. Let's have fun playing the game.
Yeah. And talk
together.
a little during the game.
Sure. And maybe like when Lauren's doing an indefinite game like that, we can just do both at the same time. But it's gonna give us a time to flip back and forth, to enjoy the game, to come back. If you just want the times where it's us talking to each other, then I'm going to try and post in the group. I wish I had a less obtrusive, a better way to like disseminate. And if you guys have any ideas and can help me implement them because I'm on the air all the time, to disseminate that information of like now is the time that we're going to be talking and now is the time that we're going to be playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our one point of contact is the Facebook group, and anyone can post to the Facebook group at any time.
Right,
so that makes it hard. I think we do a pretty good job of not having 6 posts an hour sort of thing, but it is hard for things to get lost in the mix. So
Right.
When it's a temporal thing like that, aside from I don't know, a live video here and there.
Yeah, and that's what I've been doing.
It's a different different notification at least.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's what I've been doing. Have you seen it? I've been doing the live video on video. Yeah, I want to get people to come in when the show's actually starting. It's a hard one. We've in the past it's been like show up at 7:30 for Tuesday Night Fights, and then when we go on at 7:45, it's just to the screen of like starting soon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's not what people want to see. They're like, okay, we're ready. No, oh, all right, we're not. So it was very important for me to like use my notification that I use to make sure that like it's going now. In fact, if you tune in, you're gonna see me finishing this video.
Yeah.
Can you make emoticons for this Twitch? Can one make emoticons for this Twitch? Sort of. We have 2, right? We have 2 at least at this level. I don't really care about the upper levels because if you want to give $30 to get the $30 a month for Josh C's emoticon, I would submit to you that you would be better served by giving $30 to the Patreon for Free Play Arcade up at freeplayinc.com/savethearcade, or donating the $30.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Buy some
better.
gift cards. There's
Let's not share this money as much with Twitch as that. No offense to Twitch, except for F you guys. You didn't make us a partner. Who else is doing this?
You're not hurt. It's
Hey,
fine.
hey, look at us. We have every one of us been murdered, and we're still doing a Twitch stream. So, whatever. We're also on YouTube, by the way. I feel bad if you are one of the 6 estimated viewers watching on YouTube, because we're not responding. It's twitch.tv/freeplayarcade if you want to join the chat.
Yeah.
I literally only have so many hands and so many eyes, and I can't follow the YouTube chat at the same time that we're doing this. But if you're liking it, we also have a Discord, as Ian points out there. Somebody posted up in the community group, like that's where the Discord is. It already is posted in there.
Yeah.
You can go to the community group, freeplayhof.com, to find out everything. That's where we are centered. You can do there it is in the chat. So if you come to twitch.tv/freeplayarcade, you can ask for the Discord in the chat, and someone's going to hook you up with it.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Now I forgot about YouTube, but now dual streaming. Nice. Nice.
Don't forget to pull it up on your phone and your computer.
I mean, like, to be honest with you, I would rather people share it across all platforms that they can.
Yeah.
Especially those who are impacted, like really feel it, because I don't think we're alone. I don't think we're alone at Free Play Arcade.
No, because inevitably there's people out there who love games, who love arcade games, who aren't in Dallas, who have never been here, anything else. And if you know them, just let them know we're here. The fact that we're in Dallas means nothing now. So, you know,
well, it means nothing, and it means everything.
Right.
Because
so
we're local too.
Yeah.
For 4 million people.
Right. So, you know, you don't have to be a regular patron of Free Play to come here and enjoy watching this stream, because this is great.
Well, you're gonna find that we're family, and we have enough room in this family for you.